Hi, Andrea. Today we will talk about the subject seen in our last classes, architecture, which is responsible for projecting, designing, and construction buildings to improve the habitat of the human being.
I tell you, Sharon, before the human being had a sedentary life, architecture was present because stable homes and ceremonial enclosures were needed. This concept was born out of need for shelter and protection as family nuclei were also formed.
On the other hand, at present, architecture is quite modern. There are many companies or architects who are dedicated to creating projects based on minimalist or environmentally friendly designs. Specialists recommend hiring or visiting an architect from the beginning of the construction, as he is the one who will guide us throughout the process. Andrea, tell me, what do you think architecture will be like in the future?
Sharon, I believe that in the future, architecture, in addition to being useful and beautiful, will be sustainable, ecological, and bioclimatic. The design will no longer be built but 3D printed. With all these advances, the current designs will only be archaeological monuments. Do you know anything about ancient building?
Sure, Andrea. Around the world, there are constructions made at the beginning of humanity, and the designs were based on animals. The material was walled, they had quite a few tall columns, and the decorations were based on the neoclassical design. Andrea, do you know anything about the development of architecture in Peru?
In Peru, five skyscrapers stand out. One of them is at the tower of the Civic Center of Lima. Previously, it had a brutalist finish on the walls, but now with the remodeling and the finish are synthetic and stand out for their modern design. And you, what can you tell me about architecture in ancient civilizations in our country?
Well, speaking of the best known, the architecture of the ruins of Machu Picchu is divided into sectors. The agricultural sector, a surveillance position, Albert Cemetery, the ritual rock, the urban sector, the Intihuatana, the group of stones, sacred, the temple of the three windows, entrance doors, fountains, mausoleum, and squares. The monumental mausoleum is a stone block in whose vaulted interior shows some rites or sacrifices that were made in the semicircular military turret and with two windows.
That sounds very interesting. And I would also like to know what do you think of the architecture of our country or the city in which we live.
Well, Andrea, I think that in our country there is a lot of chaos because there is no city model. There are no urbanization plans. On the other hand, I also think that this directly affects people's mood because the place where a person lives influences their way of seeing life on many occasions. And you, what do you think about it?
I agree with you. It is true that government and some people blame migration, but the truth is that municipalities are improved, and with a budget they manage, it is not possible to do large works. And so they take many years to be completed, and each change of government advance a little.
Finally, I agree with you, Andrea. Although they don't do much, everything they do affects us because not everyone is interested in caring for the environment. So there is also the indiscriminate feeling of trees. I hope that we can see the advancements of architecture in our country, not only modernity, but also on integration and order. Thank you, Andrea. Bye.
Bye.